Hello, good morning, and it's morning for me, but it could be any time for you. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever. And today we are going to walk through another layout from the Creative Memories blog. This one is featured in the 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book. This is on page 80. Or if you're searching the blog, you can search C's Please collection. That's what they've featured down here at the bottom. And this one is kind of all about getting quite a few pictures on one page. This is 5 pictures and a title or a journal box, so that could be for another picture too. So all about getting pictures on the page for a single page layout, adding in a few borders, and the page is done. So I feel like it's going to be fairly quick to put this page together. But I will switch over to my desktop view. There we go. So I am working with some winter winter pictures, sledding in the driveway, playing in the snow pictures. And I am working with the Polar Lights collection. And I will be honest, I did not buy this collection when it first came out. I felt like I had winter collections, and I don't know, I wasn't too impressed with like this Island Waters color. And honestly, a lot of the embellishments in the embellishment pack had to do more with like skiing and snowboarding and stuff like that, and we just don't do that. So I hadn't first bought this collection, but then when it was on sale for the, I think it was holideals or something, when things were like 40% off, I did buy it. I bought the paper, the embellishments, the laser cut borders, and the stickers. I don't remember if the mats weren't available or if I just didn't get them, but I don't have the mats. So we are working with what we have. So I did pull a few things out. I did pull out some embellishments and some little titles from the embellishment pack, and I went into my collection of mats and grabbed some different things that would coordinate. Just some blues, navies, snowflakes. Again, not necessarily for this, went with this collection, but we'll still coordinate. So that's what we will work with a little bit later. I pulled out a couple of the laser embellishments and paper. So I will kind of show you what my decision was for using this paper, which it's very beautiful. I love it. This would be, I think, perfect for some Northern Lights pages. But I don't have those pictures at all. This I felt like is very actually watery. So even though this is a winter collection, this could be very much for summer or beach or whatever. But if we take a look real quick at the sketch, if you are doing your pages directly on your page, you can see there's a little strip back here that they have 2.5 inches kind of behind these borders. And then there's another piece that's behind these photos here at 5.5. Um, I'm not going to worry about two different set pieces of paper. Again, if you're building directly on your pages, that might be helpful to put that strip there and the piece back there. I'm just going to do it all on here. Honestly, with the amount of photos and mats and borders and everything else that you're putting on this page, you're not going to see a lot of it. On their page, you can see they've got this like striped blue back here, and behind the photos, there's just a little bit of this blue with fish on there. You can kind of see that. So again, they're just talking about 2.5 inches up here and 5.5 down here to be behind the photos. I'm just using one big piece of paper and just building everything on top. So this is the one I decided to do for my background, and I'm just going to kind of set that aside. I'm going to focus on trimming down my photos. So for the sketch, we've got a lot of 3x4 photos, 3.5x4, a 4x6. So we're going to trim these down, and you can kind of trim them down to whatever works for you. I am, for the most part, going to follow what they've got here. And when I'm trimming my photos, there are some photo templates out there. When I'm trying to trim this down, this is already 4 inches tall, so I don't need to worry about trimming that. But I need to trim it down to 3 inches wide. And what I kind of do is kind of measure where I think I'm going to cut. And I can see my 3 inch line here. I don't see it up top here, but you can see it coming up, and it's this little bit bolder one right here. And sometimes I just kind of lay my hand to see what I would be cutting off and seeing if it's centered, and I can see they're pretty centered. I might move it over just a smidge. And again, it's just, it might be silly, but it's just a simple way for me to kind of visualize what I will be cutting off. So there we go. We've got that 3x4 photo. We're going to do the same thing on this one. And now this one is 6 tall. So I do need to trim it down to 4 inches. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to cut off his legs. I don't want to cut off his head. So I'm going to move this down. And again, I'm going to kind of just line up at the 4 inches. Again, I don't want to chop his hat off. So I'm going to trim off his legs. And there we go. So I've got 4 inches tall, and I need to trim down 3. And I might just trim it all from one side and get them kind of centered in there. Now we've got a couple photos down along the bottom. So they have a 6x4. So that's going to be this full photo here, but then it's going to get layered on top. So some of this is going to be covered up. So let's trim these guys down. Again, I need to make them 4 inches tall first. And 3.5 wide. So this one, again, I'm just going to cut it all from one side because they are already primarily off to one side on the photo. And one more. And this one I'm going to probably trim a little bit off of each side. So I'm just going to trim 1/4 inch off of each side. And that will get me down to the 3.5. And there we go. So there are our photos for now. So let's start to play around a little bit with adding them onto our paper. Again, I'm just going to build on this one. Just chatted about that. So I'm going to put this down. Don't think it matters too much. Let's see. If I have my photos here, I'm looking at whether I want more of this teal showing or if I want it to have a little bit more of the blue. I think I want a little bit more of the blue at the top because I'm using this paper as my like torn strip. So it will kind of frame the page if I've got blue at the top and then blue again at the bottom. And let's see, let's move these back down. All right. And then I just picked out some borders. You can punch your borders. I just picked out some from the laser cut pack. So that's going to be kind of the idea there. I like to dry fit my pages before I actually glue anything down. Dry fitting is just laying it out. Laying it out to see where everything's going to go. And we need to trim or tear or do whatever. You could cut another border down here, another like edge style border maker cartridge or border punch would work great. It does not tell you how tall this is here. I'm thinking it's about an inch, inch and a half. So I'm going to do that. That's cute. I like to use my tearing tools. Some people are way more free-spirited than me. Like this is not a perfect tear here, But I will show you what I do. I like to use a tearing tool. And I'm going to pull, I've got a few of them. Creative Memories has come out with a few of them over the years. So here's a couple of them. Got some more in this package here. I don't know what all of these are called again. I labeled these ones because they're newer ones that came out. These are from Old CM. This one is from Old CM. I'm going to use this one because it is a little bit more random with the tear here. And even if I didn't have this random one, what I sometimes like to do is use my tearing tool, but then rip off a little bit of extra. Honestly, I've had it in the past where I've tried to freehand my rips and they've just gone crazy. So I'm going to move my page stuff aside for a second. And I think, again, I'm just guesstimating because they didn't tell us. I think it's about an inch, inch and a half. So I'm going to do that. And what you want to remember is if you want that white edge, the portion that you want to keep is where you're going to start. So I'm just going to put this at 6 inches here. And this is the section that I want to keep. So this is what I'm going to keep down, and what I'm going to tear away, then it will leave the white. So this is the edge I'm going to use. I want it to be about an inch and a half. So I'm just measuring it at the 6, putting my tear tool at about 7.5, and I'm going to pull this edge away. And then that leaves that white edge for you. And it is pretty random, the tear here with this tool. Again, if you are more confident in your tearing, I've just had it before where I've teared and then it like tore off the page, and it kind of, I wouldn't say ruin it because we can make things work, but it just was not what I was intending. So sometimes I just like to use my tear tool, and then even I will go and just rip a little extra if I want a little bit more off here, a little bit more off there, and just kind of go from there. Again, just like the tear tools to be able to have a better starting point, so to speak. So there's that. And again, we are just kind of fitting stuff together, seeing that we like where everything's going before I put everything down. My photos are going to kind of be at the base, and everything's going to kind of build on top. And I do like that I have my blue, and I've kind of got this blue color here, and it's just kind of balancing out with the top and the bottom with the blues. They do have a border in the center here, and I kind of feel like theirs gets a little bit lost amongst the photos, but they do have a border in the center here, and I think I'm going to use one from the stickers, this sled dog one, and I thought that was just cute with them pulling each other, kind of acting like sled dogs. So I'm going to wait to put that down because we need to put that on top of our stickers. So for the most part, I think we can start adhering things down. What I was going to look at is my mat. So I had this. I think that's a little bit too light. I've got a lot of white going on here. I kind of like this one with the navy to bring in a darker color. And I kind of like that too. Now some of these are 4.5 by 6.5, and they would need to be trimmed down. I did also like this one with the snowflakes, but I'm going to have to trim it down, and I think that ends up trimming off some of the snowflakes. I think I might do this and do like a title. I could do something like that and then do my journaling in here. I'm not sure. Again, hadn't got so far. I think that would blend in. I kind of like this one, bringing in the swirlies. I also like kind of like the Frosty Fun. So I like those two. And I had grabbed some snowflakes from the embellishments. I like this teal one. They also have some embellishments down here at the bottom. So I have to kind of keep some of that in mind too. But we'll kind of figure those out. But I think I'm going to go with this mat. So let's trim that down for a second. And again, they have it as a full title bar, but I'm assuming a 4x6. So we will trim a 1/4 inch all the way around. So my journal box stays in the center. Okay. And I probably should use the paper trimmer for that, but that's all right. So there's that. And again, I think that kind of helps center the page a little bit. So I'm going to start by putting this piece down, and I'm going to put just my adhesive at the bottom so I can still kind of tuck my photos behind it. Okay, and next I kind of want to put this mat down again so then I can put my photos on top of it and kind of build from there. So I'm just kind of wanting to see where I want it to go. I want it to go a little bit higher. I think right about there. So we will put this down. And because I'm not lined up with anything else, I'm going to grab my T-square and make sure everything is lined up. Just so that this one is centered and then all the other photos can be kind of askew around it. So make sure my page is centered on my mat. And take my T-square and just make sure, oh, that was pretty straight. And is it centered? It's at about, it needs to be over just a smidge. Right? Did I read that right? Oh, no, I went the wrong way. I need to go to 9. There. I think it's good. There we go. All right, good enough. And it is straight. All right, so that's good enough. Centered and straight. And now I can kind of start to just build my other photos around it. And again, I'm going to kind of skew them a little bit. I'm just making sure this one's tucked behind my border edge here. I don't want to cut off too much of the picture over on this side because he's over there. This one down. And you can again see, and in the original this is not showing, but I'm fine with the edges showing as I'm layering my pictures here. And now let's get these borders down. Now this one's a little thicker, so I can just use regular kind of right along there. And again, make sure my paper's center. And I'm just gonna set this down a little bit. I'm not gonna push it down firmly quite yet as get this other one on top of it, just to make sure it all fits how I would like it. That's good. Snowflakes are layering a little bit. Oh, let's move that one over just a smidge so it's centered. So it's actually on the full page. Okay, so that's down. Perfect. All right, so what else do we need to do? We just need to add some titles and journaling. I'll journal off camera. We need to add something a little bit down here. So again, think I might add this big snowflake here. I wish I had a title that was a little bit more of this bright color. Let's see what stickers we have. Oh, I have to add my sled dogs. Let's add the sled dogs so I know what I'm doing. sled dogs. I need to go across. And again, I'm just kind of looking to make sure that it's kind of at the same markers on each side. So I'm at about the 7. I'm at about the 5. You get that? That's fun. Let's trim off the little bit of photos that I have over here that went off the page. Okay. And I think I just trimmed off the dog's nose, but that's all right. All right, so there is that. How fun. Okay, so my idea of putting the snowflake there, that kind of covers them up. Could put it down here. I could put one of the clusters down here, but I feel like it kind of gets lost. So let's go back to the stickers. I kind of like chills and thrills. That's cute. It wasn't necessarily a snow day. Here's happy winter. No. I think I like this one. So let's add that. Chills and thrills. And again, the embellishments are, this one has a lot of animals. Don't need those. I could do, what if I added a small little snowflakes and just added burr on top of it? These snowflakes. And this one, oh, I kind of like that one. And what's funny is when I do these videos, I do also look at my overhead to see like what it looks like. So I kind of like that, and maybe I'll add this burr and maybe add this one somewhere up here. There's a couple of those. So as I'm journaling, add those. Let's put this snowflake down. Oh, out of paper. We will get some more of that. In the meantime, we can use some repo tape to put this down, to put it down here. We'll add our little burr sticker. And there we go. I will journal off camera and make sure this is down. I will journal off camera, but there you go. There is, for the most part, our finished layout. Switch it over. All right, so there you go. That was a layout that, again, you get a lot of pictures on one page by trimming some of them down. Of course, if you have some pictures that you can trim down to that smaller size of like 3x4 and 3.5x4. And again, that journal mat or title mat that you're using, that one can be replaced with a photo as well. So you could get 5 or 6 photos on this page. So a good one. Also some flip flaps, peekaboo pockets, if you wanted to use some of those to get even more photos on your page. For that, let's switch back over. For this journal mat or title, you could do a title here and do it in a peekaboo pocket and open it up to some more photos if you have even more photos of whatever event that you're working on. So there you go. I hope you have a little bit of inspiration to get this layout done. If you want to join my scrapbook group, which is Angie's Scrapbooks, it's a private Facebook group. I do a challenge once a week where you could win a prize. So if you want to join in that, this was this week's challenge. To do this layout, you post a picture. Again, it's a private group, so if you have photos on there with people's faces, you can cover them up, or it is a private group and I do monitor who joins it, so you can kind of be a little bit assured that nobody's taking any images. But again, pages have to have photos on them to be considered done, but if for privacy reasons you want to cover up any faces or anything like that, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, This was this week's challenge if you want to give it a go. Again, join my group if you want to, or you can just try out the layout in general. Have a good day and happy scrapping.